Check it out. I know y'all can't barely see it, but I got my shirts. I got my shirt popping. Let me see. Give me a second. Let me see the live stream on YouTube. Okay, we good on YouTube. Let me see. Yeah, y'all can see the shirt though. Y'all can see the shirt. Let me see. Y'all can see it now. Yeah, boy. Long sleeves and short sleeves. Let me see. Shout out to Don D. Shout out to Mike Adams. Shout out to Lamont Davis. I know they probably all came here and I wasn't here. Apologize. But salute to everybody. All right. Let me try to get this show going. I apologize to the guys that popped in and Poe wasn't here. Life was lifing. Yep, life was lifing. Let me see. Here we go. All right, let me start off with this one. Yeah, because I got some. I'm gonna do some predictions. I'm gonna do something I don't usually do on the show. I'm gonna do maybe I'll start off with that. Yeah, I'm gonna start off with that. Let me see. Where did I have that at? Yeah, I'm gonna start off with that. Yeah, this should be kind of fun. All right. All right, we got a couple of fights I wanna make a prediction and some breakdowns. We got Ryan Garcia versus Mario Barrio. Ryan Garcia versus Mario Barrios. All right. Today we're breaking down the Ryan Garcia versus Mario Barrio card. Not emotionally, not socially, but technically. Styles, tendencies, vulnerabilities, adjustments, and who actually has the tools to win. And I'm going to go through some tactical profiles. Tactical profile breakdown. All right, Ryan Garcia. He's an explosive counter finisher. Ryan Garcia is an explosive counter finisher. And I know a lot of y'all might see it at he's not, because you look at that's Tank Davis, but his is different That's why I be saying with Undisputed, two people can have the same thing, but there's a difference to it. When you hear explosive counter finisher, you would think somebody like Tank Davis or somebody that like really hit hard because it's a finisher. But no, hear me out. Physical attributes: elite hand speed, fast twitch explosiveness, dangerous left hook, short and long range, quick trigger and mid-range exchanges. His strength: reactive counters when opponents step in lazy, sudden acceleration bursts, shot placements on the chin and temple, ability to close distance instantly. Weaknesses: defensive responsibility when exiting exchange. Another weakness he has: guard discipline under pressure. Guard discipline under pressure. Y'all see that Ryan Garcia, he don't really trust his guard. He don't trust his defense. All right. Inside fighting mechanics. That's weaknesses. Emotional momentum swings. Weaknesses. All right. What he needs to win: maintain mid-range pocket control, time Barrios jab entries, avoid extended exchanges along the ropes, keep fight in quick, violent bursts, not drawn out rounds. Mario Barrios, the structure pressure boxer. Mario Barrios is a structured pressure boxer. His physical attributes: height and reach advantage, strong jab foundation, solid engine and durability, comfortable fighting tall. His strength: forward pressure with composure, range control with jab, body attack when opponents shell up, comfortable in high volume rounds. His weakness: can be hit clean when stepping straight in. Sometimes predictable entry patterns. Not the fastest hand speed at elite level. Defense laps under combination flurries. Defensive laps under combination flurries. What he needs to win: jab first, jab often. Make Garcia move backwards consistently. Attack the body early. Turn the fight into a disciplined, high output contest. Styles clash. This is speed versus structure. Garcia thrives in volatility. Barrios thrives in rhythm. If the fight becomes chaotic, edge Garcia. If the fight becomes methodical, edge Barrios. Key rounds to watch: rounds 1, 2, 3. Garcia will look sharp, explosive. Barrios must survive the early storm without giving up control. Round 4 through 7, this is the tactical zone. If Barrios establishes the jab and forces exchanges on his turn, momentum shifts. Round 8 and 12, condition and mental composure decides it. Garcia must not fade. Barrios must not get reckless. The X factor variables: Garcia composure under sustained pressure, Barrios reaction speed to counters, Who controls center ring? Body punching effectiveness. My prediction: if Garcia lands clean early, this can end inside 6 rounds. His speed is a legitimate threat, but if Barrio survives the first half and enforces a structured jab heavy attack, this becomes uncomfortable for Garcia. Official prediction: Garcia by late TKO in a volatile fight, but this is closer than people think. All right, let me go to co-main event: Richard Hitcherson's versus Oscar Duarte. I know I butchered his last name. IBA Super Lightweight Championship 140. Fighter profile: Hitcherson, the control technician. Core identity: long, disciplined jab. Defensive awareness, distance manager. Low risk, high efficiency operator. What he does well: controls lead hand exchanges, keeps opponents turning, disrupt rhythm with timing changes, wins round clearly when in command. Technical notes: prefer outside range, uses lateral resets rather than brawling. Punch selection is measured, not reckless. Comfortable building a decision win. Vulnerability window: can be made uncomfortable is forced backwards repeatedly. Volume pressure can crowd his rhythm. Needs space to operate cleanly. Oscar Duarte, the pressure enforcer. He's a pressure enforcer. Core identity: forward pressure, combat combinations, body investment, mental persistence. What he does well: cuts distance aggressively, throws and bursts when opponent pauses, targets the midsection through slow movement, forces exchanges in tight spaces. Technical notes: not overly complex, but disciplined. Works best when opponent is near ropes. Durable and willing to absorb to give back. Vulnerability window: can be outboxed at long range. Susceptible to sharp counters on entry. May fall behind on scorecards if unable to trap. Strategic collision: this fight hinges on ring geography. If Hitchens keep this in the center, in that mid to low range, he banks rounds. If Duarte compresses the ring and forces contact exchanges, the tempo changes. Key technical battles: lead hand control. Hitchens jab versus Duarte forward steps. If Duarte eats jabs clean without disrupting rhythm, he becomes a long night. Rope awareness: Hitchens cannot allow extended rope exchanges. Duarte drives when opponents shell up. Bodywork impact: rounds 5 through 8. Duarte's best chance is sustained body pressure. If Hitchens' legs slow, Duarte volumes multiply. Fight timeline projection. Round 1 through 3, Hitchens establishes range. Duarte studies entry lanes. Round 4 through 7, Duarte increases pressure, physically rises, judges start making mental notes. Round 8 through 12, conditioning and discipline decides it. Does Hitchison stay sharp? Does Duarte breaks rhythm? Prediction. If this is fought at Hitchison Temple, it's a clean technical decision win. If Duarte forces chaos and sustained inside exchanges, the upset path exists. Official prediction. Hitchison by unanimous decision. Competitive but controlled. Wouldn't be surprised if Hitchison knock him out, though. Wouldn't be surprised at all. All right, WBA super lightweight title fight. Gary Antoine Russell versus Andy Hiraoka. I know I'm butchering his last name. Hiraoka. All right. Fighter profiles. Gary Antoine Russell, the volume aggressor. I know y'all like, wow, a volume aggressor? Yes. These are the things that should be in Undisputed, because there is different profiles for boxers. That shows you how limited they think. They think boxing is very simple. Gary Antoine Russell, the volume aggressor. Identity. Southpaw pressure fighter. High punch output. Body to head transitions. Constant engagement. His strengths. Fast combinations in tight space. Aggressive ring cutting. Forces opponent into defensive shells. Physically imposing at close range. His wrist areas. Can square up when throwing and bursts. Leaves counter window during exits. Relies heavy on pressure rhythm. Russell won a physical fight. He thrives in contact exchanges. Andy Hiraoka, I know I'm butchering his name. The tall counter technician. Identity. Height and reach advantage. Calm, upright stance. Long, straight punches. Structured pacing. His strengths. Control distance with jab. Good straight right down the pipe. Comfortable boxing at range. Composed under steady tempo. Wrist areas. Can be backed up by sustained pressure. Not always explosive in exchanges. Need space to set feet. Hiraoka's success depends on keeping his fight. Hiraoka's success depends on keeping this fight long. Long, when I say long, is he got to keep Gary Russell on the outside. All right, style conflicts. Southpaw pressure versus tall orthodox structure. Russell must step outside Hiraoka's lead foot, cut off escape lanes, attack the body early. Hiraoka must win the jab battle, avoid rope exchanges, pivot off angles, not retreat straight back. Critical technical factors. Foot positioning. The southpaw orthodox dynamic matters here. Russell needs outside lead foot dominance to land the left hand clean. Body investment. If Russell commits to body work early, Hiraoka legs could slow late. Punch volume versus accuracy. Judges will weigh Russell's aggression against Hiraoka clean, straighter shots. Round projection. Round 1 through 3, Hiroka tries to establish range. Russell probes with pressure. Round 4 through 8, tempo increases. Russell pushes harder. Physicality becomes evident. Rounds 9 through 12, does Hiroka maintain distance or does Russell overwhelm him? From my prediction, Russell pressure and output are difficult to neutralize over 12 rounds. Unless Hiroka controls distance with elite consistency, the champion's volume likely decides it. Official prediction: Gary Russell by late TKO or wide unanimous decision. Let me see. All right. Former lightweight titleist Frank Martin. 10-round super lightweight bout. Frank Martin versus Nahir Albright. All right, fighter profile. Frank Martin is an explosive southpaw. Identity: sharp counter punching, quick feet, stance switches, compact power, comfortable fighting at mid-range. Strengths: fast, straight left hand, accurate counters with opponent overcommit. Accurate counters when opponents overcommit. Good balance on offense. High level experience. Wrist area. Can get drawn into exchanges. Defensive lapse when pressuring. Must prove durability and confident post loss. When we say post loss, when him and Tank Davis fought. I don't know why I was about to say Deontay Wilder. Yo, he got knocked out like Deontay Wilder would knock somebody out. But all right. Martin goal here is clarity. He needs a disciplined, confident performance. Nahir Albright, the structured spoiler. Identity: orthodox boxer, tactical and patient, solid jab, range awareness, durable and composed. Strengths: doesn't panic under pressure, times counters well, capable of dragging fights into competitive territory, sneaky right hand. Wrist areas: lacks elite level pop, can be outsped by sharper athletes, needs consistency across all 10 rounds. Albright path to victory is disruption, not domination. Stylistic overview: southpaw speed versus orthodox discipline. If Martin controls distance and pick his moments, he should win clearly. If Albright forces exchange and capitalize on defensive openings, this becomes uncomfortable. Technical focus points. Confidence and tempo. Does Martin fight assertively or cautiously? Jab control. Albright jab must interrupt Martin's rhythm early. Ring positioning. Martin cannot fight in straight lines when exiting. Albright will look to time that moment. Round projection. Round 1 through 3. Martin established speed advantage. Albright studies patterns. Round 4 through 7. Albright tests Martin's defense with counters and timing shots. Rounds 8 through 10. If Martin stays composed, he pulls away. If he fades or forces exchanges, the fight tightens. Prediction. Martin's speed, experience, and southpaw angles give him the edge, especially over 10 rounds. But this is not a walkover. Official prediction. Martin by unanimous decision. Competitive early, clearer late. All right. All right, I just threw this one in. I don't know why I threw this one in here because both of these guys' names I'm a butcher. Bektemir Melikuzis Versina Akbeko. Super middleweight bout. All right. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat if y'all in there. Nobody's here. All right, that's good. All right. Redemption and risk segment. This fight carries memory. Bektemir, I'm gonna just say his first name. I'm not doing all that. Nah. Has rebuilt himself. 9 straight wins since the one-punch knockout loss to Gabe Rosario. But in boxing, a single highlight moment can follow you for years. Across from him is Sina Akbeko. Heavy-handed, experienced, and dangerous. If given the open, this is a stability test. Fighter profiles. Bektemir, the technical aggressor. Identity. Southpaw puncher. Sharp body attack. Strong amateur pedigree. Compact combinations. His strengths. Excellent left hand to body and head. Good balance inside mid-range. Breaking opponent down with pressure. More measured since the Rosario loss. Risk area. Can overcommit on offense. Chin remains a narrative question. Must manage distance responsibly. Melikuz's evolution since that loss has been about control, not recklessness. I don't know, I'm butchering that name, boy. Sina Akbeko, the veteran puncher, experienced campaigner, aggressive mindset, legitimate stopping power, comfortable in exchanges, his strength, heavy right hand, willing to engage, physically strong at 168, capable of capitalizing on mistakes, risk area, can be outboxed at range, defensive discipline fluctuations, sometimes squares up in flurries. Akbeko path is simple. Make it uncomfortable and look for the moment. Stylistic conflict. Southpaw pressure versus veteran power. If Malik Zook controls tempo and works the body early, he gradually dismantles Akbeko. If he lunges in carelessly, Akbeko has the equalizer. Key technical points. Entry discipline. Melikuz must enter behind fence and jab for variations. Body investment. Akbeko durability will be tested downstairs. defense responsibility after combinations. This is where Rosario capitalized years ago. That lesson must show here. Fight flow projection. Round 1 through 3. Melacuza establishes pressure and body work. Abeco looks for timing. Round 4 through 7, physical exchanges increase. Abeco tests chin and composure. Round 8 through 10 or 12 is scheduled. Melacuz sustained attack likely begins to separate the fight unless Abeco lands something decisive. Prediction. Melacuz have mature technical and emotional. Melacuz has matured technically and emotionally since the knockout loss. His body work and southpaw angles should control the narrative. Abeco is dangerous, but he needs a perfect counter moment. Official prediction. Melacuz by mid to late TKO after cumulative body damage. All right, let me see. Oh yeah, I did something. Try to make it. Now this right here, this is for Steel City and any company that's making a boxing game. So I did a list of each boxer, how they should be implemented into a box, how their tendencies, attributes, traits, all that, how that should be implemented in the game. Ryan Garcia. His core identity is explosive counterpuncher with elite speed and vulnerability. Key attributes. His hand speed is 95 plus. Explosiveness burst, 94. Counter timing, 88. Combination speed, 90. Defensive guard discipline, 72. Inside fighting, 65. Ring generalship, 75. Composure under pressure, between 70 and 75. Signature tendencies, high left hook frequency, mid-range. Reactive counter trigger. Burst offense in 3 to 4 punch flurries. Retreat in straight lines after exchanges. Low body punch rate. Early round aggression spike. His traits. Flash finisher. Increased KO chance when opponent stunned. Momentum fighter. Momentum fighter. Performance tied to emotional rhythm. Mid-range hunter. Prefers explosive mid-range entries. What makes him accurate? You must model sudden acceleration bursts, defensive vulnerabilities during exits, emotional tempo swings. Without volatility, it's not Garcia. All right, Mario's Barrios. If you was making them in the game, tall, structured, pressure boxer with steady output. His key attributes: jab consistency, 88, work rate, 85, durability, 87, ring control, 82, hand speed, 80, defensive awareness, 78, body punching, 84, tendencies: high jab volume, forward pressure bias, mid-range body investment, linear entry patterns, late round work rate stability. Traits: bodybuilder, improves at fight extends, improves at fight extends. I don't even know why I said bodybuilder. Excuse me, y'all. Pressure builder, improves as fight extends. I'm tired. All right, rhythm stability, less of less affected by chaos. Accuracy marker: if he's not consistently pressuring jab, if he's not constantly pressuring behind a jab, it's not barriers. All right, Richard Hitcherson. Core identity, range control technician. See, all these names, they don't have these in the game. All of these are things that should be up there that we see. For one, for the casual fan, that grabs their attention. Y'all don't think. Y'all don't think. This is to the developers. Y'all do not think. Range control technician, Richard Hitcherson. His attributes: jab accuracy, 92. Distance control, 94. Defensive IQ, 90. Footwork precision, 91. Power, 75. Risk taking, 60. Tendencies: high lead hand probing, lateral reset after combo, low inside engagement, low management focus, clinch when pressured. That's his tendency. Traits: ring geographer, bonus when controlling center, round banker, wins close rounds on efficiency. Accuracy marker: he must feel frustrated to fight. He must feel frustrated to fight. All right. Gary Anton Russell. Core identity: high volume southpaw pressure engine. High volume southpaw pressure engine. Attributes: punch volume, 94. Aggressive, 92. Body to head flow, 90. Conditioning, 91. Defensive responsibility, 78. Counter defense, 75. Tendencies: high combination chains, 4 to 6 punches. Outside lead foot pressure. Body investment early. Minimal retreat bias. Exchange accepted. Exchanges accepted. Those are tendencies. Traits: relentless motor. Southpaw angle pressure. Those are traits. Accuracy marker: if he's not forcing contact instantly, if he's not forcing contact constantly, it's wrong. Frank Martin. Compact explosive southpaw counterpuncher. Compact explosive southpaw counterpuncher. Attributes: counter timing 90, explosive entry 88, balance 89, power 86, defensive awareness 83, risk assessment 75. Tendencies: mid-range counter bias, sudden entry exit patterns, controlled burst offense, moderate body work. Those were tendencies. Traits: measured assassin. Let me see. Beck Tamir, southpaw body damage specialist. Southpaw body damage specialist. His attributes: body punch damage 92, southpaw power 88, combination tightness 87, entry discipline 80, chin durability 75, 78, pressure 85. Tendencies: high left to body frequency, compact combo chains, forward step entries, moderate defensive recovery delay. Tendencies. Traits: body breaker, rebuild discipline post loss growth. That's his trait. All right. We'll move on from that. Anybody come in here while I was reading? Nope. All right. So what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna read a little bit. I'm gonna end the show under the hour mark, since I don't really have nobody here, and just leave this show as, a prediction. That part was just a prediction part for the show, and I should just leave it off at that. But I'm gonna just read some more of what this show is about. It's kind of a wish list show. It's a kind of a give the devs something to think about. So let me get on this. All right. Let me see. Are devs pretending to be community members, or is this just superfan behavior? This is a delicate topic, and it deserves to be handled carefully, not emotionally. Okay. The core question: are developers secretly posing as regular community members to steer conversation and suppress criticism? Or is this simply a hyper-loyal segment of the fan base that defends the company at all costs? These are two different realities. One is a trust breach. The other is community psychology. Scenario A: developer using SOC accounts. If this is happening, it will fall under the industry called astroturfing. Astroturfing equal creating fake grassroots support to manipulate public perception. This happens because in tech and gaming, why a studio might do it to counter negative narratives, to redirect criticism, to control optics without making official statements, to discourage coordinate backlash. But here's the key: this is high risk, low reward. If exposed, it destroys credibility overnight. If exposed, it exposes credibility overnight. So the person that I'm talking about, they're going to keep pushing back because they don't want to be exposed. All right. Modern communities are extremely good at pattern direction. Pattern detection. Me, I'm good at patterns. I pay attention to patterns. Writing style similarities, time zone activity patterns, insider knowledge leaks, IP overlap, moderation biases. If a studio were doing this and got caught, it would be catastrophic for brand trust. That's why they will push back heavy to the people that try to defend this, thinking that I'm being a conspiracy theorist. No, I notice patterns. Scenario B, the corporate defender fan archetype. This is much more common. Every gaming community has the white knight, the early access optimist, they're doing their best advocate, the you don't understand game development responder. These people aren't paid, they're emotionally invested. And when someone criticizes the game, they interpret it as a personal attack. That reaction creates friction, not because they're evil, because identity is involved. 4, why this feels suspicious right now. When criticism rises and multiple users aggressively defend the studio, talking points feel rehearsed. The defense mirrors official PR tone. Criticism gets minimized instead of addressed. It can feel coordinated, but feeling coordinated does not equals coordinated. Community often unconsciously mirror the messaging they absorb through developers. And that's what I say. Give me a second, y'all. All right. Yeah, a lot of people, they repeat what the developers want them to say. But I don't think that's the case, what I'm talking about. I think there's a developer acting like he's a community member. The bigger issue, transparency. Here's the real problem. Silence from developers, silence from leadership creates a vacuum. A vacuum gets filled by speculation. Excuse me, I butchered that word. Speculation. Defenders. Conspiracy. Frustration. When communication is clear and consistent, these dynamics calm down. When it isn't, paranoia grows. Strategic reality. If a studio is confident in their roadmap, their system depth, their direction, they don't need undercover defenders. Transparencies beat manipulation every time. And if it's just an overzealous fan, the solution isn't attacking them, it's elevating the conversation. Stay system focused, stay evidence based, stay strategic. If you believe in the product, you don't need ghost accounts. These are my talking points. If you believe in the product, you don't need ghost accounts. Defending a company harder than the company defends itself should raise eyebrows. Criticism is not sabotage. It's unpaid Q&A. Transparency removes suspicion. Transparency removes suspicion. The loudest defender is not always the most informed. The loudest defender is not always the most informed. The real power move. Instead of asking, are they fake? Ask, where is the official communication? If the studio shows up clearly and directly, the noise disappears. If they don't, speculation grows. And speculation is always a symptom of silence. The speed, specificity, and cadence, why it feels off. The speed, specificity, and cadence, why it feels off. Let's isolate the real concern. It's not just someone is defending the studio, it's how they're doing it. The responses are instant. The answers contain oddly specific internal knowledge. The tone sounds procedural. The cadence mirrors dev talk. That combination is what makes people raise an eyebrow. Now let's analyze this properly. I notice these things. A lot of people be trying to get on me, but I know how developers talk. I had over 4 decades to notice these things. The speed factor. In Discord culture, response timing matters. When someone replies within seconds, has counterpoints preloaded, reference internal constraints quickly, use production terminology fluently, it can feel like instant positioning, but speed alone proves nothing. 3 possible exits. 3 possible exists. A insider. They're on the project or adjacent to it. B, deeply invested superfan. They've watched every interview, read every dev reply, memorized every roadmap. No, that's not the case, because I literally said that there's a developer that says something, looking for a job, and he instantly knew who I was talking about. And I just gave the initials instantly. He knew. He gave a clip of the developer. He said, look at the timeline. All right, but why did I set you up for that. Because you gave me too much information too quickly. That was a setup. Remember, I'm a grown man. I'm not a child. So I noticed that. I was like, hold up. I saw it myself. I was like, oh, Steel City, somebody from Steel City look for a job, because it pops up on my on my LinkedIn. And I said, oh, it's this guy. I don't want to put his name out there, but they say it's this guy. So I looked at it, I saw the time. It was last year that he was let go or whatever, or he left or whatever it was. more than likely they let him go because Steel City is doing restructuring. All right. So, the way he came back, too many things, even the things that he's saying, it sounds like a developer. Too many things he says. They're too fluent and they're too, too much he's saying. He's trying to make it, and I see when he in the chat and he's trying to change up the way he talk. But if you talk a certain way, it's always going to come out. All right. Deeper invested superfan. I read that, man. I mean that part. Highly advanced community member. C. A highly advanced community member. Some people simply live in Discord. Speed feels suspicious because it implies preparation. Preparations feel like access, but preparation can also mean obsession. Nah. The specific knowledge factor. This is more interesting. When someone speaks confidently about engine limitations, budget constraints, animation pipeline realities, publisher pressure, licensing timeline, that narrows the probability field. That narrows the probability field, the patterns that I'm always talking about. Most average players don't casually discuss netcode architecture, motion caption constraints, pipeline bottlenecks, Q&A iteration cycles. So when the language appears fluently, it stands out. However, there are a growing segment of educated players who consume game dev content regularly. YouTube dev vlogs, GDC talks, postmortems, Twitter threads. Industry literacy is higher than it used to be. So expertise does not equal employment. But it does raise probability. The cadence and tone issue. This is number 3. The cadence and tone issue. This is where intuition kicks in. Developers often communicate in a particular rhythm. Cautious phrasing. Cautious phrasing. Risk management wording. Defensive word measured tone. Avoidance of absolutes. Subtle redirection. Subtle redirection. I pay attention to all of that. If a community member mirrors that pattern consistently, it feels corporate. That feeling is valid. But mimicry is common. Communities absorb the tone of leadership. People repeat phrasing they've heard. They internalize talking points without realizing it. That creates tonal alignment without coordination. Nah, I know what I'm talking about because I know all that junk. The real psychological trigger. What actually triggers suspicion isn't just speed, it's this. When criticism appears, the defense appears immediately. The pattern creates the perception of monitoring. Monitoring implies authority. Authority implies affiliation. But high engagement communities naturally self-regulate. Some members feel compelled to protect the space. That protective instance can look organized even when it's not. What would actually indicate something deeper? Real red flags would be access to non-public roadmap details, correct prediction of announcement repeatedly, correct predictions of announcement repeatedly, early knowledge of patch content, consistent alignment with internal decisions before they're public, moderator protection patterns tied to the same account, moderator protection patterns tied to the same account. Nah, I see a lot. I know what I'm saying. Those are structural signals. Cadence alone is not proof. Strategic framing for the episode. All right. All right. The patterns of immediate dev fluent responses is interesting. Either this is the most informed fan in gaming history or something else is happening. Transparency eliminates speculation. If you're not affiliated, just say so clearly. Keep it analytical, not conspiracy. Stop. Because once you accuse without proof, credibility shifts away from you. And that's not what you want. All right, let me see. The bigger issue. The real conversation is that guy a dev is why does the community feels unsure about who represents the studio when communication is structured and official, there's no ambiguity. When it's scattered and informed, confusion grows. Confusion breeds suspicion. Conspiracy theorists, the easiest label in the room. The setup. Here's what happening. I raised questions about patterns, rapid insight of fluent responses, cadence that mirror dev communication, defensive alignment that appears coordinated, information tone that sounds production aware, instead of addressing the pattern, they attack the label. Conspiracy theorists. That's not a rebuttal. That's a social discredit tactic. The catch 22. Now here's the real trap. I've had private conversations with developers from other companies, professional engineers, producers, technical designers, people who've worked in studios. They've explained how optics are managed, how community sentiments is shaped, how informed accounts can be used strategically, how narratives get redirected. But here's the part nobody wants to acknowledge. Those were private conversations. I cannot expose people who trust me. So I'm put in a box. If I don't reveal names, no proof. If I don't protect sources, conspiracy. That's not logic. That's a containment tactic. What proof actually look like? Let's define something clearly. Proof is online community disputes and rarely screenshots. Proof in online community disputes is rarely email chains, IP logs, employment confirmations. That's not realistic. What we're dealing with is pattern recognition. And pattern recognition is how investigative reasoning works. Journalists do it, analysts do it, security professionals do it. You look at timing patterns, language overlap, narrative coordination, response clustering, access level knowledge. Then you assess probability. That's not conspiracy. That's analysts. Why the label exists? Calling someone a conspiracy theorist does three things. It discredit them socially. It discourages others from listening. It avoids having the answer to core questions. It shifts the debate from is this pattern valid to is this person crazy? That's rhetorical pivot. That's a rhetorical pivot. And it's lazy. Important clarification. Let's ground this. I'm not saying I have undeniable proof devs are undercover in Discord. What I'm saying is certain patterns feel structured. Certain responses feel informed beyond average fandom. Certain timing clusters raise eyebrows. And when you question that, instead of transparency, you get hostility. That reaction alone is interesting because transparency solves suspicion instantly. If someone simply says, I am not affiliated with the studio, clean, done. But instead, we get mockery, dismissal, labeling. That tells you more than the accuser, than the accusation ever did. The power dynamic. There's also something else happening. When moderators, developers, and loyalists align socially, it creates pressure, not factual pressure, social pressure. The message becomes fall in line or be isolated. The message becomes fall in line or be isolated. And when someone refuses to fall in line, they become the problem, not the question. The bigger issue, this isn't about paranoia. It's about trust. If a studio is transparent, structured, and communicative, speculation dies. If communication is inconsistent and defensive, speculation grows. Suspicion is a system, not the disease. Suspicion is a system, not the disease. My position, I don't need to win an argument. I don't need to expose anyone. I don't need validation. What I need, what the community needs, is clarity. If I ask a question and respond, and the response is, here's the official answer, we move on. If the response is, you're a conspiracy theorist, that's not engagement. That's evasion. Here's the truth. Questioning patterns is not conspiracy. Analyze behavior is not paranoia. Protecting private sources is not weakness. It's integrity. If I want drama, I don't leak names. I don't. I want authenticity. I want authenticity. I want authenticity doesn't fear question. I want excuse me, daggone. I'm trying to even get through this, y'all. I want authenticity, and authenticity doesn't fear questions. It answers them. Allergies acting up too. I rarely get allergies, and it's not really the allergies because where I live at is dry heat, and if I don't crack the window a little enough before I knock out, it dries me out. So my nose, I'm dried up. All right, excuse me. All right, too passionate. All right, too passionate. Expectations too high. Too passionate. Expectations too high. Or just unwilling to lower the standards. I seen the industry evolve. I was around when early boxing games were raw experiments. I watched the jump from sprite-based boxers to early 3D models to physics-based interactions to motion capture realism. I saw sports games evolve from arcade approximations into system-driven simulations. Some studios adapted, some studios stagnated, some disappeared. The pattern is consistent. Studios that chase authenticity and systematic death survive. Studios that rely on hype and minimal iteration fade. That's not emotion. That's industry history. Passion versus perspective. Passion versus perspective. Calling someone passionate is often a way to dismiss long-term perspective. Passion without knowledge is noise. Passion without knowledge is noise. But passion combined with historical awareness, technical curiosity, market obsession, system level thinking, that's not noise. That's informed advocacy. I watched technology improve exponentially. Development pipelines modernize. Engines become more powerful. AI systems become more modular. Physics simulations become more accessible. So when I say modern boxing games should be deeper, that's not fantasy. That's based on what's possible in 2026. That's based on what's possible in 2026. Y'all trying to lower the bar so people could lower it lower. Now, if you got a bar this low, the fans gonna lower it. But y'all hate that a person like me is way up here because I know what the industry can do. And y'all think is a lot of times y'all trying to save money and y'all trying to save time. Y'all don't want to work on the game because you're not passionate about it. Y'all want to get it over with as quickly as possible. The expectation debate. Let's define something clearly. High expectations are not entitlement. High expectations are not entitlement. They are alignment with capability. If technical advancement, if technology advances but design ambition doesn't, that's not realism. That's complacency. When fans say be realistic, what they often mean is accept less. When fans say be realistic, what they often mean is accept less. Because a lot of the fans don't even know what can be done. Or a lot of fans don't really care. But they want you to back up off of the developers. Because you might get what might be, epic. Something that might be epic, but like, oh, sweat, he said that. I don't look for, see, y'all think I want things in the game and be like, hey, that's mine. The reason why I do it with EA, because EA disrespected me. But other than that, no, I don't care about all that stuff. I don't like, even with my idea list, and I know a lot of y'all gonna go crazy on me and say, Poe, you're crazy. Even with my wish list, my blueprint that I got, take it. I want to see it in the game. I'm not looking for compensation. I'm on record. Look, you got me taped to say it. Take it. Go ahead, take it. But we seen what happens when sports games push systems forward. They define errors. When they don't, they get replaced. Right. Why some people want lower standards? Lower standards feel safer. If you don't expect death, you won't be disappointed. If you don't expect realism, you won't critique flaws. If you normalize limitations, you don't have to confront them. But lowering standards never improve a genre. Pressure improves genres. Demand improves genres. Constructive expectations improve products. SEI context. Here's the balanced reality. SEI is not a billion-dollar studio. They don't have EA resources. But they do operate in an era where Unreal Engine has advanced tool sets. Motion capturing pipelines are more accessible. AI behavior trees are standardized. Physics systems are robust. Players' expectations are informed. So the question isn't, can they build everything at once? The question is, are they building towards systematic authenticity? Ambition, direction matters more than the studio size. Ambition, direction matters more than the studio size. My standards isn't random. My expectations come from watching sports games that revolutionize career modes, build deep AI logic, implement dynamic commentary systems, model fatigue and damage systems realistically. And I am watching others cut features, simplify systems, lean on marketing, lean on marketing, lean on marketing, lose identity, lose identity, loss is identity. History gives you a pattern library. When you see enough cycles, you recognize early warning signs. That's not being dramatic. That's pattern recognition. That's pattern recognition. That's why I left round for round. I start recognizing pattern recognition. I start recognizing patterns. That's why I left EA. For being, because I was, like I said, I could have been a community manager at some point, but I left because I started seeing patterns. Because they wasn't going to change me. I wasn't going to be pro EA, no matter what, because I don't like their model. I don't like that hybrid model that always leans a little towards arcade. All right. The real question, are my expectations high? Yes, because boxing deserves death. Because simulation requires systems. Because we waited over a decade for a modern boxing title. And we waited, many people in my age, we waited over 3 decades or more for a realistic boxing game. We never had a realistic boxing game. No matter what companies try to say, we never had a realistic boxing game. So how do you know a realistic boxing game will sell? But, the ESBC trailer that looked at realistic and helped sell the game shows that a realistic boxing game will sell well, sell pretty good. I think you would have sold over 1 billion copies in 1 year. If you would have kept up with that, the first iteration which you had that looked like boxing, like literally looked like boxing, you could have made 1 billion in a year. Trajected. Do the math. All right. If expectations are low after a decade-long gap, what was the wait for? All right. I'm not asking for fantasy features. I'm asking for coherent systems, authentic representation, long-term design patterns, transparent communication. If that's too passionate, then the bar has moved in the wrong direction. Passion built sports gaming. Complacency stagnates. Passion built sports gaming. Complacency stagnates it. And I've seen both. Yup, numerous times. All right. Winning in a broken game doesn't mean you understand it. Winning in a broken game doesn't mean you understand it. Let me see. Nobody. All right. There's a dangerous illusion in gaming communities. If someone can play a broken system, exploit it, win constantly, they think that equals understanding. It doesn't. Winning inside a flawed structure doesn't validate the structure. It just means you adapted to its flaws. And in a boxing simulation, that difference matters. The skill versus system confusion. Let's separate two things: player skill, system integrity. You can be extremely skilled at manipulating overpowered mechanics, input delay quirks, animation cancels, exploitable stamina logic, AI blind spots. But that doesn't mean the system is realistic. It means you learn the meta. Meta-knowledge does not equal simulation accuracy. The hardcore boxing fan trap. Here's where it gets deeper. Some hardcore boxing fans say, I understand boxing, I win. The game is fine. So-called hardcore boxing fans. But boxing knowledge and game system literacy are different layers. You cannot love boxing. Excuse me. You can love boxing. You can study boxers. You can understand ring IQ and still not recognize when damage modeling is shallow. Punch selection logic lacks layers. Clinch systems are underdeveloped. Inside fighting lacks physics fidelity. AI decision trees are predictable. Winning doesn't automatically mean you analyze the system architecture. It means you navigated it effectively. Exploitation versus representation. In a broken system, the dominant strategy wins. If jab spams work, body shots dominate, accumulate, If jab spams work, if body shots don't accumulate realistically, if footwork has no stamina trade-off, if power punches lack risk modeling, players will gravitate towards the path of least resistance. Then they defend the system because they've mastered it. That's psychological investment, excuse me. Once someone's identity is tied to dominance inside the game, critiques feel personal. Because if the system is flawed, their victories feel less meaningful. Their victories feels less meaningful. The understanding gap. The gap isn't about passion, it's about layers of analysts. Layer 1, I can win. Layer 2, I understand the mechanics. Layer 3, I understand how the mechanics model the sport. Layer 4, I understand when the modeling fails. Most conversations never move past layer 1. That's the gap. Simulation requires systematic thinking. A real boxing simulation must model fatigue accumulation curves, damage zone mapping, risk reward balancing, foot placement physics, adaptive AI tendency, psychological state shifts. If those systems are shallow, inconsistency, or exploitable, winning doesn't fix that. It just hides it. The ego variable. There's also ego involved. If someone dominates online using the current system, they don't want systematic overhaul. Why? Because deep systematic correction reshuffles the hierarchy. A better simulation often punishes habit built on exploits. So resistance appear, not always maliciously, sometimes subconsciously. The real question, ask this instead of can you win? Ask, does the game reward authentic boxing decisions? Does it punishes unrealistic behavior? Does it model cumulative damage realistically? Does ring generalship matter? Does patience alter outcome probability? If the answer is inconsistent, the system needs work, regardless of win rate. Winning a flawed system is adaptation. Understanding a flawed system is analysis. Fixing a flawed system requires honesty. And loving boxing means wanting the sport represented properly, not wanting to keep your leaderboard position. If that's uncomfortable, good. Simulation isn't supposed to be comfortable. It's supposed to be accurate. All right. We good. Shout out to Don D205. Shout out to Leafy, pound for pound boxing game. But he's changing. I'm pretty sure you're gonna change that name. Shout out to AJ Pax. You know, shout out to JMMA. Shout out to Remy. You know, let me see what we said. Shout out to Papanosa and the Wishlist Mafia. Let me give a shout out to somebody I ain't shout out in a long time. Shout out to Brian Brizzle Hayes. Shout out, peace. Shout out to I know I'm missing your name. Lamont Davis. Shout out to Mike Adams. Shout out to E Champion Boxing. Shout out to Aaron. You know, shout out to all of y'all. You know, I apologize if I forget your name. I'm gonna start writing a list so I can keep your name so I can shout them out, even if y'all not here. Let me see if did anybody pop in. Oh, yup. Don D popped up in the house. What's up, my brother, man? I didn't know you was in here. How's it going? Are you all right? So, Paul, how's your day going, Ben, bro? I'm doing okay myself, just taking things one day at a time. Thank you for your support and love, brother. It doesn't go unnoticed. I'm hoping someone takes on the task of making a boxing game. It seems like these companies are scared to do it honestly. 100%. Appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. I wish I would have. Let me see how long you been in here. All right. So you still should be in. Yeah, I appreciate you coming through, man. I know you're trying to distract yourself, but yeah, that's what you need. Distractions. Healthy distractions. You know, when you really when that time comes when you really gotta it happens, you gotta you face to face with the I don't want to say it, but when you're there, that's when everything's gonna come out and all your feelings and everything. So you want to go have the distractions now. Have some type of something that distracts you, because I went through. It's like back to back to back. It was hitting me. But salute to you, my brother. Much love. Love to you, brother. I respect you, and I have nothing but respect for you. And yeah, I don't know what to say. Even though the experience, I've experienced the things, but I don't know what to say. But appreciate you, man. Nothing but love. Got my heart. And peace to everybody that come to watch the show. After the fact, oh, you popped. All right, you still here. I've been in 5 minutes. Yeah, bro. I'm keeping on, bro. I gotta keep pushing. And yeah, I can only imagine how you were feeling. Yeah, I'm still going through it because my brother, he was my counselor. It's like when I had because my brother, he was like anybody could go to him, and the person that you think like the meanest, the most aggressive, the most angriest, the most deadliest person. And I live in North. When they get around him, he breaks them down, and they like love being around him. They like respect him. He go to boxing matches because he boxed, but some of the people didn't know him, but they know he had that aura about him. So he was always my counselor. And the last like conversation like we like really had before he started going through what he was going through, and he had his mind, a clear mind, he spoke to my wife on the phone. He said, man, I stayed on the phone with your wife for like 3 to 4 hours. And I was like, Dad, I was like, yeah, she know how to talk. And that right there, yeah, if you want to, you can, in the DM, ask me, I'll give you my number and we could talk like that too. Yo, you my extended brother, man. You my extended brother. Oh yeah, this what I gotta show you, Don D. Look, man. Look. Check it out. Yep. Look what Poe got. Right? Yeah. Yeah, got him. Yup. I got the iron-ons. I got some iron-ons too that I'm gonna put on some shirts. I bought like 3 shirts, and then I got some iron-ons. They're like DDTs, so it's gonna look like good. It's not gonna be like that generic iron-on stuff. I just wish I would have bought a DDT press. Now I gotta be careful with an iron. Yeah, man. Let's see what you're gonna say. I know it's a delay, so I'm gonna see what you gotta say. And then I'm gonna sign off. Let me see. Yeah, I hate in the Discord. It like gets annoying to me because it's like they try to discredit me or they try to go out their way. And some people do it just because they feel that it's gonna bother me. Or you see these guys that they doing patterns. The patterns sound like the pattern sounds like the way they talk sound like a developer. So they have to be the cadence and everything. It sounds like a developer using developer language. Even though I use developer language, I'm not a developer. Not hands-on. I knew you was gonna say that. Yeah, I got you. But the thing is, I bought all my shirts 5X. And I don't know if you can wear 5X. But you tall, so it should fit you. Yeah, they 5Xs. Appreciate you, brother. Much love. I could talk to, if you want to talk to me, you hit me up in the Discord DMs. Much love, brother. Just remember, memories never disappear. Memories never disappear. I found that out because my brother, peace and blessings be upon him. He had dementia, which is crazy at his age. He had dementia, but he held on to memories. So memories never go. Certain memories you always hold on to. All right, peace. Yeah, he always held on to the memories, so keep the memories. Some memories just lock in. Some memories you just never will forget. Lock in and hold on to the memories, and that's what will comfort you. All right, peace. Peace to everybody. To the next show. Poe, signing out. That's something new I added.